Good friend for many years, the congressman from the 7th District here in Tennessee and the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee of the House, Mark Green. Welcome, Congressman Green.
Michael, that's great to be on the show. How are you today?
Well, I am curious about Vladimir Zelensky's latest twists and turns. Look, you're a military guy. You served. You went to West Point. You became a doctor. You served in Iraq, and you were the guy that, I think you wrote a book about this, right? You were the guy that actually, when they captured Saddam Hussein, he needed somebody to be in the cell with him that night, and you were the guy in the cell with him. You wrote a book, so you've got a lot of experience in military matters.
Yeah, I do.
And so this guy, Vladimir Zelensky, seems to be whiplashing all around the world looking for more money. And what's the latest on him? He of course, they had the big disrespectful on his part blow up at the White House, where he didn't really want to sign that minerals deal. And then we heard, he sent a letter to the president, said, I want to get back on track. And then I saw another report that said, I don't want to have peace now. What is going on with that guy?
Well, his initial response after the meeting was, the fight's going to last. This isn't going to end for a very, very long time, and that's an untenable position, for American support. I mean, Ukraine doesn't have enough lives, and we don't have the dollars to keep this going. So he's got to reach some kind of an acceptable peace, and threading that needle's not easy, But to sit down and have peace and to be the negotiator, Donald Trump has to talk to Russia, and he has to talk to them. I get it. I mean, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. He bombed hospitals. He's violated the Geneva Convention. But if you want to end this battle, the two have to talk, and Trump has asserted himself into it, and I'm glad he did, because this blank check is gone. And Zelensky's addiction to the blank check created an entitlement, and when he got to be on the biggest stage of his lifetime, the actor, he chose the wrong path. And I do think he's recalcitrant now, and from what I'm hearing from guys like Mike Walls, who is a dear friend of mine, they've reached some kind of an agreement. We'll see if there's a signing next week.
So when next time you talk to Mike Walls, the National Security Advisor, former congressman who's a good friend of yours, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Have him sign the deal with cameras, but have him docu-sign it wherever he is, right? And then issue a press statement. I have signed the deal, and I'm now going to come in. Because, how many times did he promise to sign the deal and not sign it? The guy's very slippery, in my view.
Yeah, and I really appreciated Marco Rubio's interview with Caitlin Collins the other day, and he just laid out the multiple I would say duplicity from Zelensky, making promises to sign things and then not doing it, and then getting on the stage and pushing back. And so, they have much greater control over this now than they did before. And I think there'll be a deal reached next week.
Really? Okay. So if there's a mineral deal reached next week, the talk has been security guarantee, kind of a vague phrase, I guess. But I mean, a lot of people and Zelensky and the European leaders have said, well, we mean that means boots on the ground. I don't think it means boots on the grounds to me. I think your thoughts on this. I mean, if you've got 1,000 Americans there working to get rare earth minerals out, that's kind of that's a bit of a security guarantee to me. Your thoughts on that?
Well, from a strategic standpoint, I mean, Russia's military has been decimated. I mean, they're not in a great place. Putin's looking for a way out and saving face. Now, I don't necessarily want to give that to him, but in order to bring peace, you have to, again, I mentioned the term threading the needle, and this is what Trump has to do. And so 1,000 Americans on the ground gives Putin an excuse to not do anything more, right? So you have to think of it that way. And, I think it was Sun Tzu, know yourself and know your enemy, you win 1,000 battles. And that's what Trump is doing. And what a lot of, I mean, Trump plays, four-dimensional chess here, and people, particularly in the media, some are, but very few are really smart enough to figure it out. Now, I've not had the conversation with Trump. I don't know. This is just what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if he isn't doing this with Russia too to help pull them away from China.
Mm-hmm.
We have a global threat to the United States that is the Chinese Communist Party, and that is the biggest number one for Americans. The rare earth metals are a part of that, but if he gets in here, gets peace, pulls Russia a little bit away from China, maybe leverages Russia to put pressure on Iran, we get a massive coup d'etat. And so, look, Trump is operating at levels most people aren't even getting, and and even explaining it sometimes to some of the people in Washington is a waste of your breath. But this deal has got to happen with Americans mining on the ground, and it's a great deal for Zelensky. I had a mining company reach out to me. One of the largest mining companies, actually it's the largest American mining company of minerals. And they said, look, every time we go in to negotiate a deal, it's 90% for the company, 10% for the country. And, and no investor would put the money in to do a 50-50 deal. So it's great for the people of Ukraine. It's great for potentially bringing peace, and I think it will because it'll give Putin an excuse. And, I saw it as a brilliant move. Zelensky didn't. Liberal progressives don't. But, of course, they think, that Elon Musk is a criminal because he's identified that we've been paying, $8 million or $80 million to get transgender mice. So, this is great diplomacy. This is 601, 701 level stuff here.
So Donald Trump is going to have to get Putin to the negotiation table and Zelensky or their representatives. When do you think those peace talks between the two countries would likely begin, assuming we get the mineral deals signed in the next few days or so?
Well, they're going to be working on Trump's timeline, and I don't know that. I didn't ask Mike, any further than the mineral deal. It was at the State of the Union when I last saw him, and so I don't know that timeline, and I predicting it would be unfair to them. So I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, it's a smart move because, gosh, who knows what's going to happen? As a senior, as a committee chair in Washington, D.C., what do you say about, last question here, Congressman Green, what do you say about the pace of news and movement that you're seeing, Trump versus Biden?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the stuff that has happened, the good stuff from securing the border to cranking back up the internet. I mean, the Panama Canal deal with BlackRock. I mean, it's just left and right, and it's good stuff for America, long-term strategic security of this country. And, he came in, Trump 1.0, and sort of had some general ideas about what he wanted to do and had a few people picked to help him execute. He came in this time, and, he had the agenda set, he had the people ready, and they've launched. Now, I'll give you an example of some areas where we are playing a little bit of catch-up. On the tariffs, talking to the folks over at Homeland Security. Customs doesn't have a mechanism to charge China for when the goods hit the port, right? So these systems have got to be put into place
Details.
to do that.
Details.
Right. Those details, right? So they're talking to us, well, we got to have funding to figure out a mechanism. I'm like, okay. But there's been more accomplished in the 40-something days that Donald Trump's been in office than I think in any president in the history of the country.
Congressman Mark Green, it is such a delight to have you on. We really appreciate it, and good luck up there in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, Mark Green. Thanks so much for that.